One afternoon, my daughter Kennedy rushed in. In her hand was a brochure. Mom, here, read it, please, please, Mom, please. Kennedy wanted to have her 14th birthday party here, a slumber party. And this was the brochure with the information of the house. The McRaven house was built circa 1797 by Andrew Glass in a town called Walnut Hills, which is now Vicksburg, Mississippi. In the Civil War era, it was known as the Bob House, and it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places as such. McRaven got its current name from the street it is located on, which was formerly called McRaven Street, but is now Harrison. McRaven has been on the Mississippi Department of Archives and History's Historic Preservation List since January 8, 1978. It is also believed by many to be haunted, and has been called the most haunted house in Mississippi. The first part of what is now McRaven was built by Andrew Glass circa 1797. As first built, McRaven consisted of only a kitchen with one room above it. This part of the house is now known as the Pioneer section. In 1836, Stephen Howard bought the house and added the middle dining room and the bedroom above it, built in Empire architectural style. Howard's wife, Mary Elizabeth Howard, who was 15 at the time, died during childbirth in late August 1836 in that middle bedroom. The house was purchased by John H. Bobb in 1849, and Bobb built the rest of the house in Greek Revival style. During the Civil War's 1863 siege of Vicksburg, McRaven was used as a Confederate field hospital and campsite. Since it was located so close to the railroad, a major point of battle, the house was battered by cannon blasts from both the Union and Confederate forces. However, it still stands. The home is also said to have been on the notorious Trail of Tears. Because of its Civil War history and its link to the Trail of Tears, it is well known to be the final resting place for many, many souls. To this day, artifacts and bones are still located on the property and kept inside the house for viewing during both historical and haunted tours. McRaven was eventually sold to William Murray in 1882. Murray and his wife Ellen Flynn raised 4 daughters and 3 sons McRaven. William Murray died in 1911. His wife Ellen died in 1921. Their daughter Ida died in 1946, and a son died in 1950. All died in the McRaven house. From this point on, William's daughters Annie and Ella, both unmarried, lived alone in the house with no modern conveniences aside from a telephone and no contact with the outside world except their doctor, Walter Johnson. In 1960, Ella Murray died at the age of 81, and her sister Annie sold the house after moving into a nursing home. "Wow," I said aloud to Kennedy, my daughter, who had given me all this information. "Are you sure about this?" I asked. "Yes, Mom, yes, please. It would be so much fun." She really wanted me to rent that old house for her birthday, which also happened to be on Halloween. She wanted to have 4 of her best girlfriends stay the night with her. "Well, what about the other girls? Are their parents all right with this?" "Yes," she exclaimed. "And Katie's mom even says that she'll stay the night too, so you'll have some company." "Okay, well, you tell Grace to bring the wine for us, and I'll get everything else set up for you girls. Remind everybody to bring their sleeping bags." I called the McRaven house and verified the date and time that we'd be coming. The girls wanted to go on the last ghost tour of the night so that they could get good and scared before sleeping over. On the night of Kennedy's birthday, my friend Grace and I packed up everything we needed for the night. Pillows, snacks, a cake, candles, flashlights, etc., and set off with the girls, Becca, Evie, Holly, Katie, and of course Kennedy, on our way to McRaven house. The house is especially hard to find because it is tucked back into a cul-de-sac. Train tracks run close by. The foliage is dense and hanging over the walkway made of bricks. It is dark and foreboding before you even see the house. Then suddenly, you come out of the wooded lot and see the beautiful Civil War era home, and it is everything you'd imagine it to be. A light yellow color, beautiful upper patio that one could imagine sitting on and rocking in a chair, sipping mint tea for hours. Large windows with shutters. The birds chirp to welcome you, and as you walk up to the large black door to knock, a woman dressed in Civil War era clothing answered the door and greeted the girls and Grace and I. After a few minutes, more people came to join the tour, and off we went. We heard all about the previous owners, saw where the young 15-year-old mother had died giving birth in her bed. We looked at the original part of the home, painted inside, using berries found on the property. We looked at the artifacts, saws, used to remove a wounded soldier's appendage, bullets, pieces of cannonballs, remnants of the carnage that this old house has witnessed. The girls were in awe of the history and giddy and scared, not wanting to see a ghost but still hoping they might. At the end of the evening, we were locked in. The girls would sleep on the floor in Mary Elizabeth Howard's room, and Grace and I would take the floor in the Bob's bedroom. We gave the girls flashlights and instructed them not to touch anything. We set out their snacks, some board games that we thought we'd bring along, and told the girls to explore to their heart's content. Grace and I sat on the back porch in 2 rocking chairs and opened a bottle of wine. Several times during the evening, we'd see actors dressed up. Once the girls told us about a maid calling herself Agnes, asking if they needed anything. Another time, a woman calling herself Hannity told the girls the story of her life and how it had ended tragically on the property when she'd come to visit her father, a Civil War officer. A Native American woman stopped by to tell Grace and I the story of her family being forced to walk the Trail of Tears, how she'd lost her young son and then died giving birth, right here, next to where the house now stood. The next morning we left, the girls a little more than bummed that they hadn't seen any ghosts, and Grace and I a lot more than sleepy, headed back home. The next day, Kennedy and I wrote thank you emails to the owners of the McRaven house. We told them that we were especially delighted by the actors as we had not seen that in the brochure, and commented that it was an incredible part of our stay. Less than 24 hours later, I received an email from the owner of the home. He assured us that he had not had staff there that evening, costumed or otherwise, and asked me if I had gotten photos of these people that we'd spoken to. I thought that surely he must be joking, as we did see and speak to these individuals. I emailed all of the parents of the girls and asked them to check the pictures on their girls' phones, and if there were any of the actors to please send them to me, as I planned to send them to the McRaven, but one by one, each parent wrote back that their child thought they'd snapped a photo, but every single one was blurry or just too dark to see. There was nothing. I did email the owner back and told him that no, we did not have pictures, but that we did see these people. And I asked, were they ghosts?